Hello, this is David Mitchell. Since I wrote my book on Messiah ben Yosef, I often get asked questions about this subject. So here I'm going to answer the questions I get asked most. Number one, who is Messiah ben Yosef? Well, in rabbinic literature, there is a mysterious Messiah called Messiah ben Yosef, Messiah the son of Joseph. And this Messiah, as his name suggests, is a descendant of Joseph, not of Judah. And he comes from Galilee to die, pierced by ruthless foes at the gate of Jerusalem. And upon his death, Israel are scattered amidst the nations, but his death confounds Satan, atones for sin, and abolishes death itself, and then he is raised to life again. Now, if you know anything about what divides the Abrahamic faiths, you may find it surprising that this Messiah appears in rabbinic literature, but he is definitely there. We are not talking about one or two texts. No, he appears in scores of texts, in hundreds and hundreds of references in the Targums and Talmud, in the homiletic and exegetic Midrashim, in the apocalyptic Midrashim and the Geonic Responsa, in the Hechalot literature, in the Zohar, in the Rishonim and the Acharonim. Messiah ben Yosef is a standard and important part of rabbinic belief. Question 2. How does Messiah ben Yosef compare with Messiah ben David, Messiah the son of David? Messiah ben Yosef is quite a different figure from his better-known companion, Messiah ben David. Messiah ben David descends from the tribe of Judah and from King David, but Messiah ben Yosef is a descendant of the patriarch Joseph, that's Joseph of Egyptian fame, and of Joseph's tribe Ephraim, and of the Ephraimite captain Joshua son of Nun. So that is why he is called Messiah ben Yosef, Messiah the son of Joseph. The second big difference is that Messiah ben Yosef dies, but Messiah ben David does not. The Messiah from David may have many adversaries, and he may suffer many adversities, but he does not die. In fact, there is even a passage in the Babylonian Talmud, in Sukkah 52b, where Messiah ben David sees that Messiah ben Yosef is slain, and he begs the Holy One that he may not suffer the same fate, but that he may live. And the Holy One assures him that he has been promised life. And related to this is the belief that after Messiah ben Yosef is slain, he is raised to life again. Question number 3. Did the rabbis believe in two messiahs then? Yes, they did. This is a very common belief in rabbinic literature. In fact, if we go back before the Talmudic period to the time of Jesus and earlier, we find that some Israelites expected 3 or 4 messiahs: Messiah ben David, Messiah ben Yosef, a priest messiah, and sometimes a prophet too. Sometimes the priest and the prophet merge into one prophet-priest, like Elijah, but Messiah ben Yosef and Messiah ben David are always distinct. Many of these traditions predate rabbinic and Christian times. They go back at least as far as the 2nd century BC, when we find them in the Dead Sea Scrolls, in a Dead Sea Scrolls text called 4Q Testimonia, and in the Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs. Question number 4. Is there a Messiah from Aaron? Yes, several Bible texts point to a Levite prophet-priest Messiah. In Deuteronomy 18, the Lord says to Moses, "I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brethren, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him. I myself will call to account anyone who does not listen to my words that the prophet speaks in my name." And another similar passage is 1 Samuel 2:35, where the Holy One says, "I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who shall do according to what is in my heart and in my mind, and I will build him a sure house, and he shall go in and out before my Mashiach forever. And yet another passage is Zechariah 3, which says, Listen, Joshua the high priest, you and your companions who sit before you, for they are men who are a sign. So from these passages arose the idea that there would be a priest or a prophet Messiah, or both, to accompany the other Messiahs. And we meet this priest Messiah in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and again in the Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs, and in the early Targum to Exodus 40, and in some early rabbinic traditions. Sometimes he is a descendant of Aaron, but at other times he is a mysterious priest king, Melchizedek, who met Avram after his battle with the kings of the East. Sometimes the priest and prophet Messiah are distinct, and sometimes they merge together, often as Elijah the prophet. But after the destruction of the temple, the priest Messiah fades away from rabbinic literature. Number 5. Does Rabbinic Judaism still teach about Messiah ben Yosef today? Yes, Rabbinic Judaism has consistently taught about Messiah ben Yosef from Roman times until today. He is found in the Targums and in the Talmud and in scores of other texts from the early first millennium. He develops throughout the second millennium. He is the main theme of Kol HaTor, the voice of the turtle dove by the 18th century Polish rabbi Hillel Rivlin of Shklov, and as of this day there are hundreds of Jewish websites that speak about Messiah ben Yosef. Number 6. Why is Messiah ben Yosef the greatest secret of Rabbinic Judaism? Historically, the rabbis were not at all keen for Christians to learn about Messiah ben Yosef. At the Barcelona disputation, Pablo Cristiani, a Jewish Christian friar, asked Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, Ramban, to admit that the Messiah must die. Ramban replied, truly enough, that there is nowhere in all the writings of the sages where Messiah ben David dies. But he didn't tell Friar Pablo about Messiah ben Yosef, although Ramban knew all about him and wrote about him on several occasions. It's like Robert Gordon says in his introduction to my book. Christian scholars were often ignorant about Messiah ben Yosef, and their Jewish counterparts were in no hurry to enlighten them about his existence or his possible significance for their disputations. But why did the rabbis prefer to keep Messiah ben Yosef such a big secret? Well, the fact is that for thousands of years they had been telling everyone, Christians, but also their own Jewish people, telling them all that the Messiah does not die. And they had to say that to undercut Christian claims that Jesus is the Messiah. So they really didn't want anybody to know that their own holy texts speak of a Messiah who does die. Number 7. How did I find out about this mysterious Messiah? I first met Messiah ben Yosef 30 years ago when I was researching the book that would become the Message of the Psalter, and I was puzzling over the allusions to Joseph in the middle of the book of Psalms. And then I came upon Saadia Gaon's account of how Messiah ben Yosef would appear in the last days and die before Messiah ben David came. I had never heard of Messiah ben Yosef at that time, but I felt he might be the answer to my puzzle. Yet, when I explored the subject, I found everybody saying that Messiah ben Yosef arose in the Christian period. And to me this seemed very odd. Why would the rabbis reject one slain Messiah and invent another one just the same? So I decided that the matter needed further investigation. And so over the years I studied ben Yosef, I translated the texts, I gathered the evidence, I wrote articles, I spoke on the subject, and then I gathered it all together systematically in my book, Messiah ben Yosef. Thank you for listening. God bless you. Blessed be Jesus, the Messiah.